This week, we have a lot to cover in the Hedera ecosystem. We have interviews with Calaxy and the DeFi platform Saucerswap. We discuss some more Fortune 500 breadcrumbs, some staking updates, and more. So let's get into it. We're lucky enough to have Solo, the Chief Operating Officer of Calaxy, here today to give us an intro and let us know where they are in Calaxy's roadmap. Thanks for coming on today, Solo.
I appreciate you for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So to start, what are the main components and tools that Calaxy will offer to creators?
Yeah, so I would say when you think about the creator economy at large, there's a lot of different subsets and a lot of different cross-sections within it, right? So there's a lot of different types of creators. So there's people like Spencer, there's people like Ezekiel Elliott, there's people like Tiana Taylor, Matt James, like all these different types of creators who we're super excited to work with. Will look to communicate or connect with their communities in the ways that make sense to them. And so initially what we did is the idea of Calaxy being a premier social token project. The idea of a social token hasn't been yet popularized in the same way that the words NFT are, to the average person. And so in order to kind of give the social tokens a little bit more vigor and oomph to them, we took the utility of some of these different platforms that you see within the creator economy, especially in the monetization side, and smash that utility to a social token and put it into a social media application experience of something familiar to these creators. And so things like video calls, like a face-to-face conversation like we're having right now within the application are something that you can do, or things like video messages, which is a cameo style like engagement. There's things like exclusive content, and obviously NFTs, and there's actually a custom feature that makes sense for specific types of creators. So somebody like a personal chef or somebody like a personal trainer could offer training classes directly with their fans, and they could, sell that in exchange for their social tokens, all within the application. And so all they would really need is a phone. And so basically the idea of Calaxy really at the end of the day, the reason why it takes a good amount of time to build is that it's not just about launching your own social tokens, it's not just about launching your NFTs. That's where crypto currently is. That's where blockchain currently is. And we are blocked, pun all the way intended, from unlocking all of those different types of engagements and all those different types of activities on a network like Hedera's, because there are no application layers that make it really easy for these creators to do this type of stuff, right? At the end of the day, if you're, a celebrity, you're an influencer, you're a middle-class creator that has 50K followers, you don't have the infrastructure, nor do you have the funds to be able to go out and hire a dev team to go create utility for your social token. That is currently where we're at. And that resonates with people in Web3 because they're like, oh my God, like, can't we just go? Can't we just go? But in reality, if you want to capture this market, you're going to have to be able to speak to them in a way that you can be heard. And so what we believe is that in Web2, these Web2 like application layers are super necessary, which don't really exist in this space. That's essentially what Calaxy is and how we plan to, onboard the creator economy to also give them some utility for those social tokens.
Good stuff. So, I consider myself trying to break into the creator middle class, and I know there's probably people watching that are trying to do the same. So, when will Calaxy be out of beta and available to the public, and how can creators and fans get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say for us, we're pretty milestone driven as a business. Obviously we're super excited and working as hard as possible to get things out as soon as possible. So currently right now, the application is live in the App Store. If you do have an access code or anything like that, you can definitely reach out to a member of the team. You can reach out to me. May not get to all the messages, but, there are quite a few, but there are ways to get off that list. But obviously, in terms of the broader rollout, we're really working on making sure that we can refine that UX experience. Building applications is a lot harder than I think anyone ever really thought. But, if you talk to anybody that's really been in our application, I know that you had Paul on last week and you had some other people, on as well. Our philosophy is really about wanting to make this experience, super, super pleasant. Like we want this to feel within arm's reach of something like a Twitter and Instagram. And they have done a great job at setting the standard of what those applications should look and feel like. And so we're following suit and making sure that we do our best to, accommodate that and kind of build that into our own application as well. And so for us, we're hoping within the next, couple months, sometime this summer, to be able to kind of have a more concerted rollout plan, utilizing, Hedera smart contracts technology and all of that stuff as well. so that we could be, at the forefront of decentralizing things like payments and stuff like that. But in order to do all of that, it's got to be the most important thing is that when I pick up a phone and I give it to somebody like a creator of some sort, somebody that's never seen blockchain or crypto before, that it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, like I like to use this analogy a lot. And I think I used it in the spaces the other day that I had in the Hello Future one. But the idea is really like, if we were at a part in society where you had to basically become a pseudo engineer to drive a car, we wouldn't have a lot of people driving cars, right? Like if that were where we're at as a society. And so when we really think about us as a business, at the end of the day, yes, blockchain is amazing. Hashgraph is amazing. We're super excited to be able to use these technologies and have it underpin what we're doing. But at the most important juncture, where we're at is the most important juncture, which is really, at the end of the day, you don't need to be an engineer to drive a car. You don't really need to be a crypto expert or a blockchain enthusiast to use Calaxy. And so that's kind of what we've been really focused on as a company.
Yeah, we want that user interface to be seamless, really easy to use, and we'd much rather you do it right than do it fast. So take your time, and we'll wait for it this summer, and we'll be ready. But Solo, thanks so much for coming on. I can't wait to have you, Spencer, Cooper, Paul back on when you finally do launch. Do you have any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate everybody from the Hedera ecosystem and all the support they've shown for our project. We're definitely at the forefront trying to bring some more really cool consumer commercial use cases to Hashgraph. And so, definitely appreciate all the support that we have there. If you, again, do wish to have access to the beta and you have the chance to catch one of us in passing, please make sure you feel every right to ask for an access code, and we'll do our best to accommodate everyone. And then, definitely appreciate all the personal support that I've gotten from the Hedera ecosystem. And you can follow me on Twitter at SoloCise. I'm also on Instagram. That's probably my primary channel. But, trying to be a crypto head myself, so trying to develop a presence more on there. But I appreciate all the support that we have. And I know that reigns true for my entire team. So I appreciate them, and they appreciate you guys as well.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming on. Thanks again, Solo.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
There was a lot of excitement around something that was found on LinkedIn. Following Rob Allen posting the announcement of the HBAR Foundation Sustainability Fund, Nitin Kashid, head of commercial and consumer payments at Mastercard, replied to Rob's announcement. He sent a message saying, "Would love to pitch a green payment solution that we have created, Rob Allen. I think it's a great fit for the HBAR Foundation." And Rob simply asked him to get in touch. Things are good when Fortune 500s are reaching out to you to pitch ideas. Thanks to Crypto Observer for highlighting this message on Twitter. I think it'll be a bit fresh to comment on this particular development, but after a slight delay, we are going to have Rob on next week to talk about the Sustainability Fund. Today, we have another platform working on bringing DeFi to Hedera with Saucerswap. Here to tell us about it is Peter, the head of marketing for Saucerswap. Great to have you with us, Peter.
Hey, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So to start off, what's your vision and goals for Saucerswap?
Yeah, so the quick way to think of Saucerswap is basically Uniswap on Hedera. It's a DeFi 2.0 platform. That's how we're marketing it. It's a full suite of DeFi services, liquidity providing, single-sided staking, yield farming, and then eventually some other additional functionalities like play-to-earn games and some other stuff like that.
Well, I think that's exactly what we're looking for. So what's the timeline look like until you actually launch?
Yeah, so we're waiting on a few Hedera improvement proposals to fully bring our products to market. One of those actually just came onto the preview net a couple days ago, HIP 218. Besides that, the improvement proposals have been coming on a little quicker than we've expected. We are slated to launch in H2, the second half of 2022. But yeah, that's a conservative estimate, but that's what's currently on the calendar.
Well, it's nice to hear that Hedera is actually executing some of these HIPs faster than you're expecting.
Yeah, that's always a nice surprise, isn't it? Yeah,
for sure. So Dovu has been talking about, DeFi coming to Hedera, and actually they mentioned Saucerswap by name. So what other assets are you guys planning on offering?
So at launch, we will have 2 supported pools. Supported pools means that they have corresponding crop circles. So the 2 pools are HBAR and Sauce. Sauce is our protocol token. And then we will also have a USDC HBAR pool. We ran a poll on Twitter, and USDC HBAR was by far the most coveted pool. So yes, we'll make sure to have that at launch. Additionally, any user, by means of create to opcode, basically, can create what we call a UFO pool. That means that they can put up any 2 HTS tokens into our protocol and create a unique liquidity pool. We anticipate there being a lot of quote unquote UFO pools after our launch, and some of those projects can, or any of those projects can apply to be a supported pool. That means that they'll have a corresponding crop circle and receive a weight of emissions.
And I could see some of the use cases that are building on Hedera that have their own tokens like TuneFM and Adovu wanting to set up some of those pools as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're fully anticipating that, and we're really looking forward to that. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. So thanks for stopping by, Peter. Is there anything else you'd like to pass on before we let you get back to work?
I guess, just keep an eye out on our socials. We have a pretty fun Discord server that can be found in the bio of our Twitter, which is Saucerswap Labs. Additionally, we have an NFT sale going on right now. These NFTs are utility NFTs that have some cool perks that, give the user some access to our protocol and our platform in general. So check those out at saucerswap.finance. And we're just really looking forward to the coming weeks and months.
All right. We'll get all your social media stuff down there in the description, and make sure we get your website on there as well.
Sounds great.
All right, Peter. Thank you for coming by.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
We have a couple updates about staking. First, an update to the interview we did last week with Stader Labs. You can now sign up for Stader Labs Alpha version early access by following this link. All you'll need to do is enter a name and an email, and you'll get a confirmation email. Don't forget to go into the email and click the confirmation link. As more information comes out, I'll be sure to pass it on and hopefully run you through the full process. I'll also post the link in the description. We also had an update on Hedera mainnet staking from the February 9th council member meeting minutes. The document said that the Hedera Council approved the development of a permissionless staking rewards model. The meeting minutes did mention that they discussed the timeline, but the actual dates weren't given for implementation of staking. But we'll keep an eye out. The meeting minutes also showed that there was a new guest in attendance. It was VTM Group, who offer tech consulting and support and are very active in setting technology standards. As always, CoinMan did a great job keeping us up to date with his Twitter feed, hitting on all these topics and much more in this past week. In the initial press release, there was no mention of Hedera specifically, but top Hedera use case, Infinite by Suku, is going to help move McLaren Automotive into the metaverse. The supercar manufacturer wants to build a marketplace for sale of NFTs, which will also grant exclusive access and experiences to the owners. People got a bit shaken when Hedera tweeted that they assumed that the NFTs will be built on Hedera, but had not received confirmation. I'm also going to follow up and see if we can get confirmation. But in the meantime, if you are unsure, I suggest watching an interview we did with Suku CEO Jonathan Lapchick. I'm pretty confident, but we still want to make sure that the company with an upcoming $700 million SPAC, which had SEC filings indicating potential for 3,000 clients, are still on Team HBAR. This past week, we were lucky enough to get Matt Smithies from Dovu back to give us an update on how they're using DLT to help the environment. And we're absolutely stacked next week, kicking it off with Lehman answering our questions about why HTS and Smart Contracts 2.0 are such a big deal. We had to postpone the call with Rob and Wes from the HBAR Foundation so they would have some more freedom to talk about the latest with the Sustainability Fund, but we should have that interview later in the week. And we rounded out with Siki, who's on a mission to build a more profitable entertainment ecosystem. We're also planning on having a Twitter Spaces AMA with the Stader team to field questions on their HBAR staking plans on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. For details, keep an eye out in the Hedera Twittersphere. With HBAR sitting at about 21 cents, we're still range-bound between 19 and 26 cents, and that range has actually tightened a bit to 19 to 22 cents in the past couple weeks. Risk assets did have a rally in the second part of the week, and HBAR should have performed better, but I think this large volume dip had a lot to do with the underperformance. There were two spikes this week that are worth noting. The one that spiked up happened Tuesday, and the dip we already discussed happened on Thursday. Now, 2 data points aren't enough to draw too much from, but I did notice that the spike that drove a long shadow upwards was on significantly lower volume and moved the price more than the dip.
This tells me that this week it was much easier to push the price of the HBAR up than down. And again, this is just 2 data points, but it's good to see that a relatively small amount of buying had a bigger impact than a large sale. With HBAR still range-bound, there's not much else to delve into at this point. Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed the content.